Good morning, students. I welcome all of you for today's session. So, let us continue with the module 4, that is continuous process improvement and statistical process control. So, let us continue with the continue process improvement only. So, the topics to be discussed today are three, that is Kaizen, second one re-engineering, or it is also called business process re-engineering, and third one is Six Sigma. Let's start with the Kaizen. In Japanese term, kai means change, chen means good or better. So change for the good or better is called kaizen. We have to change the system for better purpose. During 1920s, the focus was on the mass production, which was triggered by Ford to conquer the whole automobile market in the world. The company rose to great heights due to reduced car prices. This model was soon followed by many other automobile giants like Chevrolet, GM, etc. After World War II, the global economy has had suffered a lot. Japanese economy had slumped into a very low level. This made the manufacturing giant of Japan, especially Toyota, to think and come up with new techniques rather than developing new technologies. So, Kaizen is one such technique that improves the quality of the process on a continuous basis. Masaki Imai pioneered this technique at Toyota that defined a philosophy which involved implementation of small changes on a continuous basis. So he was the man behind this concept. He is also known as Lean Guru and father of continuous improvement. In simple terms, Kaizen means improvement or improvement for the betterment. The Kaizen strategy calls for never ending efforts to improvement involving everyone in the organization from managers to workers. And Masaki Imai has authored two books. First one in 1986, that is Kaizen Key to Japanese Competitive Success, and second one in 1997, that is Jamba Kaizen. Kaizen methodology. So finding out the pain area, then analyze that pain area and apply 3 M's with considering the 4 M's. So find out where the improvement has to take place. That is the pain area for us, or improvement area is called pain area. By analyzing it and using 3M with a combination of 4M's, you improve that. 3M's are Mura, Muri, and Muda. So these are types of wastes. So as it is said, Kaizen is change for the betterment. How to change and make it better? By elimination of the waste. So three types of wastes: Muri, Mura, Muda. Muri is overburden, Mura unevenness, and Muda non value adding work. And 4M's, you know, man, machine, material, and method. So let us know what is this Muri, Mura, and Muda. So first one, anyway, it is not in the ordered way. First one, Mura here, unevenness. Mura means unevenness or non-uniformity or irregularity. Mura is the reason for the existence of the 7 wastes, which we will discuss later. Mura can be avoided through the just-in-time systems which are based on little or no inventory. So there is no need of keeping the inventory. which makes unevenness. So, by supplying the production process with the right part at right time and with the right amount. So, the key concept of just-in-time system is delivering and producing the right part at the right amount and the right time. So, this type of waste, that is Mura, can be avoided by adopting just-in-time system. Second one is Muri, that is called overburden. Beyond one's power, excessiveness, impossible or unreasonableness. Muri can result from Mura and in some cases be caused by excessive removal of Muda, that is waste, from the process. Muri also exists when machines or operators are utilized for more than 100% capability to complete a task or in an unsustainable way. Muri over a period of time can result in employees' absenteeism, illness, and breakdowns of machines. So, in order to avoid this overburden or Muri, standardize the work. To achieve this, a standard condition or output must be defined to assure effective judgment of quality. So, third type of waste is Muda, which can be avoided by identifying and eliminating non-value adding and unnecessary activities. Muda means wastefulness or uselessness, which is contradicting value addition. Value added work is process that adds value to the product or service that the customer is willing to pay for. There are two types of Muda, type 1 and type 2. In type 1 includes non-value added activities in the processes that are necessary for the end customer. For example, inspection and safety testing does not directly add value to the final product. However, they are necessary activities to ensure a safe product for customers. Type 2 includes non-value added activities in the processes, but these activities are unnecessary for the customer. As a result, type 2 type of Muda should be eliminated. Next, a small concept called Jamba Kaijin. Jamba is again a Japanese word, means real place where the real action takes place. In business, Jamba is the shop floor or production place where the value adding activities to satisfy the customers are carried out. Three ground rules for practicing this Kaijin in Jamba are: first one, housekeeping; second, Muda elimination; third one, standardization. So, first one, housekeeping. Here, the shop floor, which we considered as a house, how to keep it? We have to keep it with the 5S. 5S is a method for organizing a workplace, especially a shared workplace like a shop floor or an office space, and keeping it organized. So, what are those 5S? You see here, first one, sorting. So, actually, the Japanese term is shiri. Shiri, shiten, shiso, shiketsu, and last one, shitsuke. These are 5S Japanese words, and same meaning is given in the English, that is sorting, simplifying, sweeping, standardizing, and sustaining. First one, sorting or shiri. Shiri is a Japanese term. Shiri is sorting through all items in a location and removing all unnecessary items from the location. That means keeping only essential items. So, how to implement it? So check all items in the location and evaluate whether or not their presence at the location is useful or necessary. Or remove unnecessary items as soon as possible. Place those that cannot be removed immediately so that they are easy to remove later on. Then keep the working floor clear of materials except for those that are in use to production. Second one, Seaton, that is simplifying or straightening or set in order. Seaton is putting all necessary items in the optimal place for fulfilling their functions in the workplace. So, how to implement this? Arrange workstations in such a way that all tooling or equipment is in close proximity, in an easy to reach spot, and in a logical order adapted to the work performed. Place components according to their uses, with the frequently used components being nearest to the workplace. Arrange all necessary items so that they can be easily selected for use. Make it easy to find and pick up necessary items. Assign fixed locations for items. Use clear labels, marks, or hints so that items are easy to return to the correct location and so that it's easy to spot missing items. So keep the or third one is CISO, that is sweeping. CISO is sweeping or cleaning and inspecting the workplace. So keep the workplace clean. How to implement? Clean the workplace and equipment on a daily basis or at another appropriate with high frequency interval. Inspect the workplace and equipment while cleaning. So these methods can be applied. Next, fourth one is Shiketsu. So this is standardizing or standardize work practices. Shiketsu is to standardize the process used to sort, order, and clean the workplace. So, develop a work structure that will support the new practices and make it part of the daily routine. Last one, Shitsuke or sustaining. Shitsuke or sustain the developed process by self discipline of the workers. So, how to implement? Organize training sessions, perform regular audits to ensure that all defined standards are being implemented and followed, implement improvements whenever possible. Worker inputs can have very valuable worker inputs are very valuable for identifying improvements. When issues arise, identify their cause and implement the changes necessary to avoid recurrence. So these 5S should be maintained in the house. Next, second is Muda elimination. So as I said, there are 7 types of wastes. Those should be eliminated. Those 7 types of wastes are mentioned here. Overproduction, waiting, transportation, process. Any waste in the process should be identified and eliminated. Inventory, operator movement, all these unnecessary operator movement, and finally defects. All these waste should be eliminated. That's called Muda elimination. So eliminate all these activities, unnecessary activities. Third one, standardization. Standards may be defined as the best way to do the job. Products or services are created as a result of a series of processes. Certain standard must be maintained at each process in order to assure quality. Standards also can prevent recurrence of the same problem. So next is Innovation and Kaizen, how they are interlinked and how Kaizen and innovation should be implemented. So let us know actually what is Kaizen and innovation. What is the difference? Kaizen is focused on small improvements as a result of ongoing efforts of the company's staff members. On the other hand, innovation is focused on the large, dramatic improvements as a result of big changes in technology and equipment. As you can see, both concepts are important for the business. The only thing Kaizen is a step by step or incremental improvement, whereas innovation a dramatic or a big change. The Kaizen is something that you can make on an everyday basis. In such a way, your company will be better each day. You will decrease costs, increase productivity, profitability, etc. But still, after some period of time, you need to implement innovation processes in order to bring high rate improvement in your business operations. For example, you need to innovate new processes or buy new modernized equipment, bring new products on the market, etc. So, the combination of Kaizen concept with the innovation will be important for your success as an entrepreneur and your business as overall. So, combination of both innovation and Kaizen will lead to a, or it will take your chance easily and fastly to success. So, both are needed. The only difference is Kaizen, incremental or step by step improvement, where it will take you to newer heights. Innovation, sudden improvement or sudden improving by sudden change like technology or etc. So here some differences are given, uh, Kaizen and innovation with respect to some parameters. See, for example, effect. So long term and business as usual in Kaizen, innovation short term and dramatic. Pace, small steps, Kaizen, innovation, big steps. So all these parameters are given. Effort. So Kaizen, people are required to bring Kaizen into the system. So technology is a must in innovation. So just go through all these 10 parameters which show you the Kaizen and innovation difference. So this is about the Kaizen concept. Again, some innovation and Kaizen, how they are different, it's given. So innovation needs creativity, it's an individual activity, and it is a specialist oriented attention to great leaps, technology oriented. Whereas Kaizen, it is an adaptivity, it is a teamwork, it is generalist oriented, attention to details, people oriented, etc. So second concept is re-engineering, which is also called BPR or business process re-engineering. A business process is a collection of activities which together produces some value to the customer. Re-engineering, what's re-engineering? It's a fundamental rethinking and radical design. Business process re-engineering, it is the practice of rethinking and redesigning the way work is done to better support an organization's mission and reduce costs. Organizations re-engineer in two key areas of their business. First, they use modern technology to enhance data dissemination and decision making process. Then they alter functional organization to form functional teams. Re-engineering starts with a high-level assessment of the organization's mission, strategic goals, and customer needs. Basic questions are asked, such as: does our mission need to be redefined? Are our strategic goals aligned with our mission? Who are our customers? An organization may find that it is operating on questionable assumptions, particularly in terms of the wants and needs of its customers. Only after the organization rethinks what it should be doing, it has to decide how best to do it. So BPR focuses processes and not tasks, jobs or people. So all these are not focused. Only processes are focused. It advocates that enterprises re-examine from basics and aim at a total reinvention, not small improvements. So seven re-engineering principles are given here. So how to re-engineer an organization, especially it is for organization, especially to make change in bring a radical change or reformation in the system or the process. Seven re-engineering principles. Organize around outcomes, not tasks. So don't focus on tasks. Outcomes. What you want, what should be the outcome. So organize or focus on that. Identify all the processes in an organization and prioritize them in order to design urgency. Integrate information processing work into the real work that produces the information. Treat geographically dispersed resources as though they were centralized. So even though they are geographically dispersed, you treat them as if they are centralized. Link parallel activities in the workflow instead of just integrating their results. So link the ongoing other activities with the workflow. Put the decision point where the work is performed and build control into the process. So last one is capture information once and at the source. So benefits of re-engineering: it eliminates waste, obsolete or inefficient process, and hence significant reduction in cost and time. Revolutionary improvements in many business processes as measured by quality and customer service, increasing the competency of both top and low level companies. Last concept is Six Sigma. Six Sigma is a set of techniques and tools for process improvement. It was introduced by American engineer Bill Smith while working at Motorola. Later, Jack Welch made it central to his business strategy at General Electric in 1995. Sigma represents the population standard deviation, which is a measure of the variation in a data set collected about the process. If a defect is defined by specification limits separating good from bad outcomes of a process, then a Six Sigma process has a process mean or average mean that is six standard deviations from the nearest specification limit. For example, if a product must have a thickness between 10.32 and 10.38 inches to meet customer requirements, then the process mean should be around 10.35 with a standard deviation less than 0.005, assuming a normal distribution. However, this Six Sigma terminology is associated with manufacturing, where Six Sigma process is one in which 99.99966% of the products manufactured are statistically expected to be free of defects. That means you can expect only 3.4 defects per million, that is 10 lakh. In Six Sigma, any product falling outside of customer specifications is termed as a defect. So you can see here the Six Sigma curve. It has to be the yield should be 99.99966%. So only 3.4 defects maximum it should be there in 1 million parts. So in other thing also it's mentioned 90 for 99.97 to 7 to 30 defects are there, 99.4 6210, right? So throughout the curve, that means till it reaches 6 sigma, maximum 3.4 defects per million opportunities. It's called defects per million opportunities. So in 6 sigma means maximum 3.4 defects in 1 million, that is 10 lakh. So 6 sigma methodology, there are two approaches to achieve this 6 sigma. First one is the DMAIC. This approach is undertaken to improve existing business process. So it is for the organization. So 6 sigma can be applied for the organization. So that's called organization based. Second one is DMADV approach, that is based on customer needs and satisfaction. So first one is DMAIC. You can see in the this curve circle. D means define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. So basically, what is the difference between these two? So first one is it is for the organization. Second one is for the customer. And DMADV means define, measure, analyze. Fourth one is design. Fifth one is verify. So it's called DMAV. Please go through the slides and answer for today's quiz. I and Rahul sir will be there for your any doubts soon after this session also. Please participate with full strength for the quiz. Thank you.